Hi everyone, Slangel here from Slangel Designs, and today we're doing a nice easy single crochet chevron, which is a 1-row repeat once you get your foundation row done. And this was one that was requested by a viewer. They were interested in seeing how this was done. Now what you're seeing here, I just want to show you the pink one. This is using the same pattern, but this is made using just the back loops only, which is what the original pattern called for. So you can see it gives it a nice texture on the front and the back, so it is reversible. There isn't really a look to the front that isn't the same as on the back. And it makes it kind of, it feels softer, if that makes sense, because it's a little bit more airy because of the way the stitches are done when you're just using the back loops. Now, if you follow the same pattern, but use both your stitches, both your loops, like when you're crocheting, instead of just going into the back loop, if you use your hook into both, this gives it a flatter and a slightly firmer fabric result. So, but both of them are very customizable, because you'll see here, I just kind of changed the color and just did 2 rows. That's 2 rows because of the way it makes it pucker with the back loop only. That's 2 rows of the cream color in between there. And again, this is 2 rows of the bluer color, but you can see it gives you a fair bit of difference because there's no pucker. So, and again, you could make this blanket in all one color. You could do so many rows of one, so many rows of another. You could throw in 2 or 3 colors and customize it however you would like. But either way, it works out really pretty. So this is, I'm using a 5.5mm hook, which is a US I9 worsted weight yarn, or you can use whatever yarn you prefer. If you are making it with for a baby blanket, you're using like a lighter weight yarn, or if you want it nice, thick and chunky and you're using a bulky, go right ahead. My only thing is if you're changing the yarn from the worsted weight yarn, is use the hook that they recommend on the yarn label. Okay, because you'll find, like on here, I'm using loops and threads, which is my typical go-to. It tells you here, it's a worsted weight, but it tells you 5.5 US I9. It gives you the recommended to get your gauge and everything. Okay, so majority of yarn labels, unless it's like the hand spun stuff that you can get in the skeins, it has a recommended hook size on it for you, so you'll get the best results and the best look. So for this pattern, you're just going to need your yarn and your hook, scissors, and your yarn needle. The only stitches you're going to be using are your chains and single crochet together. Very, very simple, straightforward stitches, very beginner friendly. Now, this here, both my samples are a starting chain of 59. And when I measured them across, no, 61, because it's multiples of 29 plus 3. So this is like 29 from peak to peak and 29 from peak to peak. Okay, so I did 58, 29, 29, 58 plus 3, 61. So my starting chain was 61, just for your sample size, okay? So when I did the sample, which was 2 repeats, that worked out to be 12 inches across in width. So if you want to go by that, if you're changing your yarn, or if you're making this, if you want to be sure, do a sample thing of 61, even just a few rows, just so that you can get, you know, enough to gauge how wide it's going to be. And then if you know how big of a blanket you want to make, you can do the math on that. Okay, so if you wanted to be, say you needed it to be 5 feet across, well, you know that 2 repeats is a foot, so you're going to multiply that by 5. You're going to do 10 repeats, and you'll do the math on how many starting chains you need to do on that. Okay, so like I said too, this is a 1-row repeat once you get going, which is, we all love those because those are easy to do in front of the TV and just while you're relaxing. So I'm going to set these aside. We're going to get started. Now I'm going to show in the same sample what it looks like with the back loops only and what it looks like with using both. Okay, so I'm just gonna adjust the camera here a little bit so it's not blocking what I'm trying to do here. All right, so we're going to start with our starting chain. And again, in order to show you the peaks and valleys, I will have to use my starting chain is 61. So that's just, you're going to attach your yarn to your hook with a slip knot, and we're going to yarn over and pull through and do your chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if you want to put me on pause, I'm going to get up to 61 here, and I'll meet you back in a second. Be right back. Okay, so we have our starting chain of 61, or however many you're going to be doing. And for the first few rows, what I'm going to do is do the, just because it's a little easier, I'm going to do using both loops, so that we're not just doing the back loop only for the starting, because it makes it a little easier to hold the starting rows. So let me just zoom in a little bit here for you. All right, you will start and end each row the same, which is going to seem weird, but I'm going to show you here. When you have your chevron, you need to have your flat side coming, like you got your peak and then you get your flat side. What gets that to be angled correctly is you're going to single crochet 2 together at the start and the end of each row. So in the second chain from your hook, so the one on your hook does not count, so 1, 2, using this one, put your hook in, yarn over and pull up, but don't do anything, because then you're going to go into the next one, hook in, yarn over and pull up. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. That's your single crochet 2 together. Now it wants you to get down. We're going to work our way down to the valley. We're going to single crochet in the next 13 stitches. So we'll do that together. And the starting row is always a little slower just because it's a little flimsy. You don't have a whole lot to hold on to. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oops, split my yarn, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now, what you're going to do now is in the next stitch is you're going to put 3 single crochets all into the next, okay? So we're going to go back in here, and again you can see I'm using both loops of the chain. 1, back into the exact same spot, 2, and 3, and that's going to make actually our peak. And it's hard to visualize it right now, but once you get going and get a couple rows in, you're like, oh, okay. So now to get down to the valley, we're going to do another 13 stitches. So the next one's a little tight because of where you got the 3. So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going a little slower because I know there's some people that wanted me to go a little slower. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Now, I just want to double check because I'm not sure if I was at 6 or 7. So, we know that the 3 are together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We are correct. Now, we're going, because that was our peak. Oh, cat hair is always free. Okay. We made our peak. Now we're going to be doing a valley. So what you're going to do is skip the next 2 chains. So 1, 2. Then you're going to start doing you're going into the 3rd one with a single crochet, and you're going to do 13 single crochets all together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And now we had just done a valley, so we're back up to doing, so we have our first peak, we got to our valley, now we're going to be back up to a peak. So we're going to do 3 single crochets in the next one. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do 13 down the, why does that look weird? 1 second, looks a little off. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so in our next stitch, we're doing our 3. My yarn split, maybe that was the problem. But it wasn't looking quite right to me. All right, happens sometimes. 1, 2, and 3, and now our 13 down the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, my fingers aren't working here, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now don't panic, you'll see why. 12 and 13. I have 2 stitches left. You are supposed to, so do not panic, because remember what I mentioned, you are going to start and end every row with a single crochet 2 together. So that's what you're going to do with these 2. You're going to crochet 2 together in the last 2. Okay, so no need to panic. So that is your foundation row, which is going to give you, I have it all twisted here. Here we go. So it doesn't look like a whole lot. Let me just zoom back out for a second. It doesn't look like a whole lot when you first start with your foundation row. It almost looks like an M, essentially, okay? So then what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and at the base, let me zoom back in a little, that does not count. So what you're going to do when it says to crochet 2 together, you're going to go right in to the one at the base of your chaining, your turning. You're going to take that one and the next and crochet those 2 together. Okay, then we have to work our way up to our peak. So we're going to do 13. And once you get going on this, you're going to notice where you'll eventually not need to count them. You'll notice where the peaks and the valleys are, and you'll be able to pick up a little bit of speed. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go a little faster here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then you're going to notice you're going to put 3 single crochets in the next stitch, and you'll notice that it's in the middle. You had put 3 single crochets there before. You're putting your 3 in the middle one. So you'll eventually start to notice where you need to do that and not really panic about the counting. So then you're going to do, once you do your 3 single crochets in the top of the peak, you're going to work 13 down the side to the valley. So 1, 2, oops, I didn't have both loops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And you'll notice you've got your little valley here, but what's going to happen is you're going to skip the next 2 stitches and you're going to start working your next 13 going up to the peak. You're going to skip this one and this one, put your hook in and do your first single crochet, which is first year, and then you're going to do the remaining 13. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And again, that brings us up to be putting our next 3 single crochets all in this stitch, which is at the top of the peak, which is also in the middle of the previous 3 in the same stitch. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 13 stitches down the side to get to our valley. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And again, don't panic. You need to single crochet the last 2 together. Remember, every start and every end of a row is single crocheting 2 together. Boop. So then, to go on to the next, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're just going to keep repeating that. You're going to work your 13 stitches up to the top of the peak. In the middle stitch of the peak, you're going to put 3 single crochets, work your way down 13 stitches to the valley, skip 2 stitches, and then single crochet 13 up to the top of the next peak, and you're just going to keep going. So I'm going to do that. Did I do a chain one? I did do a chain one. So we'll do one more row like this, and then I'm going to show you how to do the back loop only. So again, you're going to single crochet the first 2 stitches together and work your 13. So I'm just going to keep on going. So I will, in the description box, put the links to any other tutorials like the single crochet, and I believe I have the single crochet 2 together there as well. And I will also put the link to a free downloadable PDF of the instructions of this pattern. It's a very straightforward, beginner-friendly pattern. So, and if you have any questions, please, please, please feel free to put them in the comment section, and I will get back to you and assist you in any way I can. All right, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Exactly. Just double checking. We're going into the, why does that not look great? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I was right. So we're doing our 3 together, 3 in the same stitch. But yes, I will post the link to the free PDF. You will have to scroll down once you click on the link. You need to scroll down to find it. So it doesn't immediately take you right to the exact link. It takes you all to the pattern pages of everything that we've posted for free. And who knows, you might find something else there on the site that you might like to download, and they're all free. All right, so we're getting down to the base of the, oh sorry, I was off camera here. So we're getting down to the valley, and remember, you're going to be skipping these 2, so we're going to do the last one here, skip 2 stitches, and then single crochet in the next, and then keep on going until you get to the top of the peak. And this is a stitch and a pattern that will, once you get your first couple of rows done, you got something to hold on to, because I find that makes a massive difference. It goes pretty quickly, and there's no set pattern for color changes. If you even want to do a color change, you don't need to worry about that. But I find it adds a nice look to it if you put a splash of color here and there just to break it up a little bit. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I always, until I get going, I'm just double check. And then we'll work our way down. And if you are going to be changing color, as I've shown you in other videos, that when you get to the last, say you know you're going to change to a different color in the next row, what you're going to do is when you go to do your single crochet 2 together, I'll just show you here at the end. All right, so we have our last 2 stitches. You're going to do as if you're going to do your single crochet 2 together, but before you yarn over to pull through the 3 loops on your hook, take your new color and put it on, yarn over, and pull it through so that you get a nice even change of color. Okay, so there we've got another row done, and if I zoom out a little bit there, you can see it's taken shape a little bit more, and by putting our single crochet 2 together at the beginning, we're starting to get our flat edge up the side. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to chain 1, turn my work, but I'm going to start doing it in just the back loops only, just so that you can see what that looks like. So even when you single crochet 2 together, if you're following the back loop only, you're going to just take the back loops and single crochet the 2 together, and then you're going to just back loop only. So again, when you see your stitches, you have a front loop and a back loop. What you want to do is just take the back loop, and that's going to add that texture to your project. Okay. So I did find starting out, if you're doing the back loop only for the from the beginning, at first it's a little tricky because it's hard to hold on to the starting chain and just use the back loop because it's a little flimsy, but it is doable. You just got to take your time until you get a couple of rows in. So then I'm let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. So you're still going to stay with just your back loops only when you're doing your 3 in the same stitch. And don't worry if you feel like it's stretching it a little bit. It will settle back down and it'll lay nice and even. Then back loops only. Going back down. So I'd like to thank everybody too who has commented or shown support to the channel and liked the videos and everything. The support has meant the world, and I really do appreciate everything, and I hope that you're finding the videos helpful and that maybe you find something new that you might like to make. Alright, so we're coming down to one more, and I can tell where I'm at because I know these 2 stitches, which make the V of the valley, are the ones I need to skip. So and if you find you need to keep counting, for the first time I was making a pattern like this, I counted pretty much for the whole project because I was so paranoid I was going to either go too far or stop before I needed to and do a valley or a peak and mess up the shape of it. If you need to count, there is no shame in that, because as you can see too, I still go back every now and then and double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it doesn't hurt because you don't want to have to rip something apart and waste your time. You want to get it done just right as you're going. So if you're more comfortable counting and not just going by the look of the pattern, no harm in that, no shame at all. It's whatever makes you more comfortable, and as you get used to it, if you can go by the look, go right ahead. All right. Now, our last 2, because if we double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, our last 2 are a single crochet, the last 2 together, just through the back loops. And that's that row. So, if you take a look here, it's hard to tell because we only have done 1 row, but you can see, okay, these were just the flat using both loops. Now that we're just using the back loop only, we're starting to get a bit of texture to it. And you can see it kind of makes a little bit of a ridge. So I will do 1 more row here. And then we're gonna single crochet our 2 together through the back loops only. And we're just gonna keep on going. So if you want to put me on pause for a second, I'm going to get to the end of this row. I don't think at this point you need to see me go through every stitch. But again, back loops only. Single crochet 2 together at the first and end of every round. And it's the same row over and over again. So I'll meet you back here in just a moment. Okay, so I finished that row. And you can see how it starts to make the pattern of the back loop only, which ends up giving you, over time, it looks slightly accordioned, if that makes any sense. You know how you would take a piece of paper and fold it and fold it and fold it back and forth? It kind of gives you an accordion look, okay? And it makes it a little stretchier, a little more airy, and I find just a lighter fabric. Or you can just simply stay using both loops like we started out, and just keep going with that. And as you can see too, by doing the 2 single crochet or single crochet 2 together at the start of every round. That gives you your flat edge while keeping your chevron shape. So that's the single crochet chevron. Makes up a super easy, quick blanket. Very customizable with colors. And again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you like the video, give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can see any other videos we're going to be coming out with. We do have some other things planned for down the road. I do want to do the kids sweater, and I have a sea breeze blanket that I just finished that I want to show you how to do, which is another easy 1-row repeat, and it's got a really pretty border on it. So we will take a look at that. So again, thank you and happy crocheting, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.